All right, what's going on? Welcome to today's episode. Look, let's get right into it. 5 things that men do to ruin their lives. You guessed it. This one was a fan favorite. I posted this on Facebook, and you'll never believe it. I think we had maybe like 50 shares in like the first hour, right? Which is pretty good for how big our audience is over there. But I wanted to bring that up because a lot of you guys were DMing me saying, man, that post was spot on. I've actually fell victim to some of those things on your posts. And so can you elaborate a little bit more on it? So rather than responding to a lot of you guys, and again, I appreciate the messages, but rather than just responding to a lot of you guys one by one, I figured, look, let's put this into a podcast and let's put our spin on it, and let's add a little bit of more context to each of them. So again, 5 things that men do to ruin their lives. Number one, you choose the wrong partner. Choosing the wrong partner is going to make or break not just how quickly you move, but how happy you are. Now, look, I'm not saying to go, you hear this podcast, don't get me in trouble. Don't say, hey, this is confirmation. I needed this. Let me go leave my partner. Let me go leave the person that's just been driving me crazy. It's not how that works, right? You have to get everyone on the same page. And so a lot of that stems from how well you're able to articulate your vision, and especially if you are married. So I'm going to speak to two of us. I'm going to speak to those of us that are married, gentlemen, and I'm going to speak to those of us that are dating or single. Haven't pulled the trigger just yet, right? So for those of us that are married man myself, father of 4, been married going on 7 years, right? So I can kind of speak from experience of what I know so far is if you get your partner on board with what you're looking to do, it's far easier to get the ship moving in the same direction versus if you're just over here kind of working on your business, working on your career, doing everything by yourself and you're just the bread earner, but you also have something else that you're working on and you don't bring your partner in on it. They're not just going to resent you, but they're also going to resent that thing that you're working on because they're going to feel like you're unattaching them, or they're going to feel like that thing that you're working on is taking them away from them. That's crucial. And that'll save you a lot of arguments. That'll save you a lot of heartaches. And that'll save you a lot of arguments and confrontation. Really, you want to have confrontation, but that'll save you a lot of moments that you shouldn't be going into battle for, because that all stems from having the right communication, having that clear and upfront. If you've been prolonging that conversation, I'm here to tell you it's not going to go away. That monster is just going to get bigger, bigger, and bigger, and eventually it'll either explode or you're going to have to face it head on. The second group of us that I want to talk to is those of us that are dating. Early on, I told my wife, my girlfriend at the time, not my wife, I told her, hey, look, I was going to go into real estate, which was going to be my first field or my first taste of entrepreneurship. So I told her, this was back when I was 22, 23. I told her, hey, look, I am about to go into entrepreneurship. I can't guarantee that I am going to succeed in this thing. First things foremost, I can't guarantee you that I'm going to have a lot of money. I can't guarantee you that my schedule is going to be as open as it is now, right? Because I was pretty much working a 9 to 5. And so it was easy to go on dates. It was easy to say, hey, let's hang out on the weekends. It was easy to have our schedules align. Hey, I know for a fact we can go out today at 6. I know for a fact we can hang out tomorrow at 4. It was easy on the weekends. But when I had that conversation with her, I let her know up front, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm working toward. This is the type of lifestyle that I want to have. Again, there is no guarantee. I want you to know this. There is no guarantee, but this is something that I want to work toward, and I would like for you to be a part of it in any way, shape that you can, because I would like for you to be in my life. She's told me flat out, hey, I'm down to go for the ride. I said, say less. Let's do it. And so obviously 7 years later, actually more than 7 years later, that's almost a decade now. Decade later, 4 beautiful kids, we marriage going on 7 years. She stuck around for the ride. Why do I tell you that? I tell you that because whether it's your first date, your 5th date, or your 37th date, especially if you're not married, it's a little bit easier. You can kind of get away with this. That conversation needs to happen. Hey, this is where I see my life going. This is what I'm striving to do. This is the lifestyle that I want to provide us. I would like for you to be a part of it. If not, I totally get it. I know it's not normal. I know it's not for everyone, but this is where my vision is. What do you want to do with your life? Because that is important, especially if you're dating someone that also has a vision. You want to see if their vision and if your vision are one that coalesce and come together that you guys can work on together for the greater of your relationship. By the way, side note, I think that's going to be a really good soundbite for the reels, that segment right there. So, going to give you a little cap on that. The second is you're neglecting your health. Now, it's not about getting a six pack because this is actually your mental and your physical health. If you have more energy, then you're able to produce a higher result, meaning you're able to work on your goals. You're able to work in your business at a higher frequency, right? Also, if you have your mental health, you're sharper. You're able to kind of just pick things up. Well, okay, wow, I just learned this new skill, and you're able to apply it really quickly because you're able to adapt a lot faster. A lot of that stems from having the right energy. High income is attracted to high energy. Remember that high income is attracted to high energy. So when your mental health is at a high state, when your health is at a high state, meaning you're operating at a frequency that people are saying, man, how many shots of espresso have you had today? None, dude. I mean, I'm just enjoying the fact that I'm alive today. I'm enjoying that I'm working towards something. And you come from that place of gratitude, you're able to get far more done versus, hey, I'm down in the dumps. Hey, I really don't want to be here. And look, even if you do feel like that, show up anyways. I've never been in a place where I felt down and out and didn't show up and didn't feel better. Anytime that I felt like, hey, I don't want to show up and I didn't show up, I felt worse at the end of the day. But again, the days that I say, you know what, I don't want to be here, I'm going to at least start getting some things done. Toward the end of the day, I felt, man, I am so happy that I came here, I got to work, I got some things done, and I got the ball rolling, and we pushed this thing a little bit further today. It's all about pushing a little bit more every single day, and I promise you, it's going to have a far better impact on your mental health and on your discipline and on how you view yourself as a person. Because if you can keep your commitments to yourself, which is the most important bond that you need to keep, it is your commitment to yourselves. You're going to command the respect of other people because you're going to see, man, that person keeps their commitments to themselves. That's someone that I can trust because they ultimately keep their word of who they are, because our word is an extension of who we are. Number 3 is you underestimate the importance of money. Underestimating the importance of money is going to put you in a dangerous place. Anytime that I've ever underestimated the importance of money, I have spent more than I can bargain for. Anytime I've ever underestimated the importance of money, I have put myself, I have put my family, I have put my business in a tough predicament, right? When you underestimate the importance of money, you are disrespecting your future. You are disrespecting the life that you are working toward. I know that sounds a little harsh, but I think that if a lot of us respected money a little bit more, and I notice that I'm using the word respected money versus loving money, because we know that money, or the love of money, is the root of all evil. I'm using the word respecting money because it really is a tool. You can use it to move the needle in your favor or against you. If you have no, I don't want to say the word attachment to it, but if you have no regard of money, then what ends up happening is that you find yourself where you're constantly chasing it. And if you're constantly chasing money and if you're not attracting it, that's because money doesn't respect you. It's just, I know that sounds weird when you're thinking about it from that frame, but the minute that I made the switch from, okay, I respect money enough to know that I am putting systems in place and I am raising my value as a business owner to know that it's going to respect me back. So it's going to flow back in this direction and it's going to want to partner with me. And it's also going to want to make babies, AKA when I invest it, that means that's going to make more money for us, for our company, for our business that we can then go back and do things like donate. We can then go back, donate to churches. We can then go back and donate for giveaways. We can then go back and hire more people in our team and put more money back into the economy. But all of that stems from you having a regard, you having a respect, and you understanding that money is important. And it is important. It is an important part of life, and it is an important tool that you need to learn more about. And if you've been watching our podcast, then you've been doing just that. Number 4 is you're staying in a draining environment. Draining environments are dangerous because draining environments are often comfortable to us, right? The people that we hang around with, the areas that we decide to hang out in, the type of content that we consume, the type of energy that we tend to flow toward, all of that stems into the same environment. And if you are in a place where you don't feel like you're getting anywhere further along, if you don't feel like you're operating in your true calling, if you don't feel like you're taking your passions to the next level, if you don't feel like you're taking your income to the next level, odds are You're most likely in an environment that's one, it's toxic, but the dangerous part about it is that you're blinded by how comfortable it is to you because that's what you know. Put yourself in environments that make you feel a little bit more uncomfortable. This means that maybe you start getting around people that they view how you live your life a bit like reckless. Especially for those of us that are single guys, if you hang around married men, you'll kind of start to see what I'm talking about. Where, and yes, there's a season to be single, yes, there's a season to be married, but if you're kind of inching to that place where, hey, I think it's time for me to settle down, and you start hanging around married men that have their things going for them, they have their family situated, they take care of their kids, they take care of their wives, they take care of their household, they got their careers on check, they have their businesses on check, you start to feel naked. And I know that that's an interesting kind of like pull that I'm using, but it's really how you feel. You start to feel subconscious, which is how you want to feel, which is completely contradictory to, hey, if I'm in an environment that I'm comfortable, you feel like you're fully clothed. The problem is that what you have on is actually weight. And the weight that you have on is what's slowing you down from being where you need to be, from having stronger relationships, from being a better dad, from being a better sibling, from being a better business owner, from being a better coworker, from being a better leader. When you get around guys, and again, this message is more for the men, but when you get around guys that make you feel like you are lacking in certain areas, that's going to help you better those areas. Now, do not confuse this with bullying. I don't want you to get around guys that are constantly putting you down about your weight, that are constantly putting you down about, hey, why aren't you making more money, that are constantly putting you down, you're an idiot. No. I'm talking about guys that's, hey, maybe we have to watch our weight a little bit. Let's go work out together. Hey, maybe you should be making a little bit more money. I think that if you put these pieces into place, you'll double, triple, even quadruple your income. Hey, I think that maybe we need to hit up church, right? Let's get in a men's small group, whatever that is. Let's get a Bible study going on, whatever it is. Look, I believe in the Bible. That's my thing. This is my show. And so I'm going to speak to you guys from my real life experiences of things that have helped me. Getting around men that hold you accountable is going to do far more for you than you just hanging around watching stuff on the internet that you probably shouldn't even be watching, drinking potions, right? That are putting you in a third person state that's not going to do anything when you come back to reality. Get around some real heavy hitters because it's going to have a heavy impact on your life. The fifth and final thing that men do that ruin their lives is they complain more than they try to change. I'm not a big fan of being around complainers. I think that they offer no solutions. I think that they have way too much to say and far too little to do. And oftentimes they say that, hey, it's just constructive criticism, but they're not actually helping you build anything. They're just voicing their opinion, even though they're not working toward anything. And so if you are a guy that's constantly complaining about the way that the world is right now, hey, the world's moving too fast. Look, dude, no one can control it. Hey, that's not fair. Why does he have that car, or why does he have that business? Look, dude, like what are we solving for here? It's usually what I like to ask. Hey, okay, cool, but what are we solving for? That's a follow-up question that I usually ask my team whenever somebody's bringing something up. I feel like it's a complaint. All right, hey, cool, I appreciate what you brought to the table, but what are we solving for? When you can start asking that in your own life, what am I solving for? Like, seriously, okay, that person maybe has a better brand than me, right? Especially for those of us that are involved in social media. Hey, that person maybe has a better product than me, but what are we solving for, right? If I'm going to be using healthy comparison, then I want to poke holes in my own business to see, okay, what can I learn from them versus, oh, well, they got there because of X, Y, Z, or they got there because of luck. That's not serving you. That's not serving them. That's not doing anything to move the ball forward down the court. Now, I did have a bonus for us, and this bonus actually came from one of the comments that somebody posted that I thought, man, that's brilliant. I got to add that on here. And so this is actually the sixth thing that men do that ruin their lives, and that is pride. More importantly, not asking for help when you're down and out. This one's huge, especially with guys, mental health, guys unfortunately ending themselves. That is a serious topic. And I want anyone that's watching this podcast, or listening to this podcast, if you feel like you're in a place where you're down and out, you don't want to ask for help, there's no shame for asking for help, right? There's no shame in asking someone, dude, I need a second pair of eyes on the situation that I have. I need a different perspective. I need to maybe get a different voice, a different weight on the situation that I'm going through, versus trying to use the same the same lens that you have. I often call this a distorted reality. All of us have our own realities, the way that we view the world. Maybe the way that you're viewing a situation might be bigger to you because you're emotionally attached to it. If you ask someone else, especially preferably a guy, right? Someone who's maybe a couple steps ahead of you, or maybe even someone that's you guys are holding each other accountable, preferably, right? Somebody that you're walking with, they're going to be able to give you maybe a piece of advice or a suggestion because they're not emotionally involved inside of that situation that you find yourself in. And when you're able to get that piece of advice or when you're able to get that counsel, you're then able to make a decision based off of some real logic, not just emotions. This is why prayer works so well. When you put yourself in a place of prayer, you're obviously asking your creator, hey, I've never been here before. I have no idea what the next step is. Guess what? You're praying to someone who's taken someone just like you, if not less than who you are right now as a living being, further simply by asking that question. It can be as easy as, God, what's going on with the situation? I need your light on this. Versus, God, why me? I know a lot of us make that prayer, God, why me? Complaining a little bit there. A little bit more perspective on it is, God, what are you teaching me in this situation? God, what would the next best step be in my situation? God, given the tools that I have, what tools can I use for this situation? Those are far better prayers that you can make because it keeps it open versus a yes or a no. It keeps it open to resourcefulness. It keeps it open to abundance. It keeps it open to infinite knowledge, which sometimes we all need a little bit more of. So if you found value in this episode today, highly encourage you guys to replay it because it's one that I actually really enjoyed now that I've gone through it recording. As always, we don't do any ads. We don't do any sponsors on any of our episodes. So if you found value in this, the only thing that we ask you is that you leave a 5-star review because it helps this podcast, our episodes, reach a larger audience of people that can maybe benefit from it the same way that you have. So that's our only ask for you. But other than that, I appreciate you guys checking me out. Until next time, everyone, I will see you in the next episode.